On this week's episode of BJ in the Morning, we're going to talk about Marvel Phase 3 and Phase 4. Let's go.
Hakuna
No. You can't sing that. We've gone over this. We're already doing enough by talking about Disney properties. You can't start singing the songs. They're going to come after us.
Dude.
You're going to just be woken up to a big old mouse standing over your bed with a hatchet.
You want to sing my songs, motherfucker?
Just a hatchet in his hand, ready to fucking murder, dude.
Well, if we're singing it, though,
Mm-hmm.
isn't that technically a parody?
With your voice, yeah.
I just said take Hakuna Matata and make it Jack Johnson.
And it
That's how I was singing it for the last 45 minutes.
Yeah. We've been sitting here trying to just
Hakuna
No.
What
No. I will cut this out. I will cut this out.
Oh, welcome to BJ in the Morning. I'm Juan.
And I'm the less musical version of Brendan. Not going to be singing on this podcast. That's not this episode.
Hakuna
No.
Dude, I think I have a chance, dude. I can make it.
You going to go on The Voice or
I'm
something?
going on The Voice.
Why?
Why do The Voice judges always change?
Because they realize that show's bullshit.
I don't know who the judges are anymore.
Wasn't I think there was one of the Jonas Brothers at one point.
Yeah.
The dude from Maroon 5, Adam something.
Adam Levine.
I can't ever tell. I always call him Adam Devine, but I know that's not the right guy.
Adam what?
Adam Devine.
No,
that's the guy
him.
from Workaholics.
Yes.
I'd choose him over Adam Levine though.
Blake Shelton is the only consistent character on.
What else is he doing with his life, except
being married to
Miranda?
Gwen?
What?
Gwen Stefani?
No, that's not him. Isn't it Miranda Lambert?
Dude, what?
I'm pretty sure.
You're way.
Dude, you want me to Google it right now?
They were married. They got divorced, and now he's married to Gwen Stefani.
When did this happen?
Dude, you're so behind. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding, dude.
Oh my god.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, shit. It's been 7 years.
Yeah, they've been married for a long time.
He got married to Gwen Stefani in 2021.
Okay,
so
anyways.
you could forgive me for that.
That's still a long time.
You could, for someone who doesn't listen to country music ever.
Okay. You not listening to country has nothing to do with you being on top of the
stars.
On top of the game, dude.
Tell me what relevancy Blake Shelton has to my life.
That he's awesome.
All right, we're supposed to be talking about Marvel.
No, right now we're talking about The Voice. What other voice judges have there
Was
been?
Demi Lovato on?
I don't know about Demi Lovato, but I know Ariana Grande, CeeLo Green.
Well, we know why he's not on it anymore. Okay, so you don't know about the controversy with him, but you know who Blake Shelton is fucking married to?
Wait, what happened to CeeLo Green?
We'll talk about it after this. We don't need to bring it up on here unless we talk about controversies on a podcast episode or something.
Okay.
Christina Aguilera.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer Hudson.
Okay.
Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alicia Keys.
Okay.
And John Legend.
I see.
But I think they change all the time, right?
I don't even know. I haven't watched that show since Cassidy Pope was on that show.
Oh, Cassidy Pope.
You want to talk about controversy?
Oh, I don't think the listeners know that story, but again, we can save that for another episode if you want. Just to have a whole episode about encounters with famous or almost famous people. Because you have a few.
Yep.
You have a few of those stories.
I don't know why.
Because you talk to everyone.
Well,
You're not afraid to walk up to a stranger, no
That's
matter how
true.
famous they are,
that's true.
and be
They're
like,
not-
hey, we're going to be best friends now.
Yeah, they're also not all bad encounters.
No, some of them are.
Just one really bad encounter.
Yeah, and see, like, I have some encounters, not as many as you.
You know, that should be our next episode.
Yeah, maybe.
Celebrity encounters.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Celebrity beaches. Anyways, so we are here to talk about Phase 3 and Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Juniverse.
Junoverse.
Juniverse.
Because we just finished Phase 4. Like, we just saw the last Phase 4 movie, right?
Yes, Phase 4 is over. Officially over.
That's crazy, dude. You remember when there weren't phases? I think we've already talked about this.
No. No, we didn't. But, yeah, I think it was like after Phase 2, they were like, oh, by the way, this is the end of Phase 2. What?
When did we get into Phase 2?
Yeah, exactly. When the fuck did we get into Phase 2?
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
But now we're going into Phase 5, and we want to cover everything that has happened before Phase 5 starts.
For sure, dude.
For
For
sure.
sure, dude.
That way, when Phase 5 is in progress, we can make specific episodes for those movies or shows slash whatever.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think this podcast is going to be a movie podcast, but we're definitely going to talk about movies all the time because
we love movies.
we love movies.
We love the movies.
So that's going to be like a little bonus.
I guess. I know, like, the first time we did the podcast, we had like special episodes that were just dedicated to movies. Like,
Right.
we'd go see a movie and then talk about it. So,
Right.
you know, there'll probably be shorter episodes
Yeah.
of movie reviews or TV show reviews and things.
But also, we could do that with like the shows, like weekly. We
Mhm.
can review that episode. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a great idea. We just made this
We just
together.
made this up.
You, me, Juan.
Me and Brennan actually haven't talked in 3 weeks.
That's a lie. I saw you on Sunday. Saturday? I saw you on Saturday.
Saturday.
And it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Ah.
Oh. All right, so let's jump into Phase 4. So last time we were talking about Phase 1 and 2, and we went through each individual movie, right? And then we said our favorite. Is that what we did?
Yeah, so we talked about every individual one and then did our favorite from that phase.
Okay, so let's just start off with Phase 3 right off the bat. Now, Brendan, take it away.
What's the first one on the list?
Captain America: Civil War.
Civil War. I love this movie. Civil War was great. It really dove deep into like the Bucky and Captain America backstory and how Bucky interacts like with the Avengers. Which I thought was cool. We got more Bucky in this, I think. Which was fun to see, like the Winter Soldier in action and stuff.
Yeah.
There were some parts of this movie that I really didn't like. There were some parts that just seems pretty like, oh, well, this happened, you know, like,
right.
But overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great. We got introduced to some pretty important characters and such. So,
Like,
you know, our boy himself, the Black Panther, which I really like to see. Like, it was a cool like way to bring him into the story,
right?
Because we're so used to all these Marvel movies like giving you a whole origin story of every single character
And then bringing them all together.
and in this one it's just like, oh, he's here.
Same with Spider-Man, right?
Well, I wasn't there yet.
Oh.
But yeah, Spider-Man 2, right? It's like, I think like the Black Panther setup was more like, dang, like,
Yeah.
because you just kind of see him talking, and then next thing you know, Black Panther's attacking Bucky,
Right.
and that was kind of shocking. Like, I don't think any of us expected to see Black Panther in this movie. Did you?
I don't remember. Like, waiting for this movie to come out, I think they hyped up Spider-Man more than they did
Well, no, we didn't see
Black
Spider-Man in anything.
Panther.
Spider-Man
Are you
wasn't
sure?
in any trailers.
I'm pretty sure he was in the trailer.
No, because I remember like there was a lot of controversy of them editing the trailer. That's when the trailer controversy started, where it's like Marvel movies make fake trailers, like these shots aren't in the movie, things like that.
Yeah.
But there's the shot at the airport, and there's just an empty space, and that's where Spider-Man is in the movie. So we didn't know Spider-Man was going to be in the movie at all.
I thought there was a trailer right before it came out.
No.
There wasn't? I don't remember. I don't have the best memory.
But yeah, so like there was rumors that there was Spider-Man going to be in it, but we didn't know for sure. And then there's just that one part in the movie where it just cuts to Queens, and you're like,
Yeah.
hey.
Hey. Spider-Man.
Spidey.
Spider.
But I think like the way they introduced both, like Black Panther and Spider-Man into the MCU like that, like
Yeah.
was really smart, because we didn't need all the backstory. We didn't need any of that for them to just come in and kick some ass,
Right.
And that was the first time we saw Tom Holland in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Because we got Homecoming later on.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I remember the entire theater screaming, when Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah.
And seeing like his homemade suit, like he never wore it in that movie except in like the little YouTube clips they showed, but
Yeah.
we never really saw it in action because Tony Stark gave him his suit.
Right.
Which at that moment I was fine with. And we'll talk about Spider-Man's suit later on, but
Yeah.
but it was cool. I really liked that movie overall. I think the like Sokovia Accords didn't matter that much, unfortunately. Like, it set the movie in motion, but for me, I didn't feel the weight of it like Tony Stark did.
Yeah, but then also the plot shifted.
Yeah.
From the Sokovia Accords
To
to
Tony hates Bucky.
Yes, exactly. So that's why it's like a little confusing.
Mhm.
Why? Like, I get it. The Sokovia Accords like split them initially,
Right.
but it didn't really matter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I feel like
Unfortunately. Because in the comics, it really mattered.
yes,
And they took a lot of liberties with like how they changed the comics to the movie, because the teams are flipped and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Like, who's on whose side, like, of the Accords. But overall, like, I think that movie did a lot of like really cool things. Like, we got Ant-Man, being Giant Man,
Yep.
and that was fun to see. To see like Ant-Man interact with all the Avengers and not just Falcon,
Right.
So I really
Yeah.
liked that. But I mean, overall, I think
the
it
movie
did.
was great, and like I said before, I love mashup movies. I love, good cameos. I love.
No, and that's the problem with this one though, is it was a Captain America movie, but it felt more like a Iron Man movie,
Yeah.
and it overall should have been an Avengers movie.
Right. I
So,
agree. I 100% agree.
But we did
Rename the movie, goddammit.
just call it Civil War. We would have been fine with that.
Well, that's pretty much what we call it.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
we kind of forget that it
it's
is a Captain America movie.
Yeah. But then we did get the like sending Bucky off to Wakanda,
Right.
which set up a lot of stuff going forward as
Right.
the end credit scene or the mid credit scene. And then the post credit scene was like Spidey, some more Spider-Man stuff, setting up Homecoming and everything like that, which was really cool to see.
I don't remember.
Well, he gets a little package and he opens up the thing and the Spider-Man logo comes out. The one that's on his chest. You don't remember that?
No.
I'll
In
show
the
you later.
hotel?
No, I think he's back at home.
Mm.
I'll show you later.
Right. Oh wait, yes,
Yeah,
I remember.
right?
I remember.
And it's just so small, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was more Spider-Man, and that's what we wanted, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, overall, like, it's not a bad movie. I think there was a lot of really cool action scenes. It was a lot of hand-to-hand combat, which Tony Stark wasn't really equipped for at that point in time, you know?
Yeah.
His suit was more like mid to long range kind of fights. So it was cool to see him like hand to hand, and that whole like scene in where are they at the end with what's his face with Zemo.
That's I don't know exactly where it is, but I think that's where they kept Bucky.
Right. I don't remember where it's at, but like there's that whole fight between the three of them. Like in front of like all those like windows. They're not really windows, but like it's dark and light.
The archways. Yeah.
That fight scene is pretty badass, honestly. Like Cap and Bucky just kind of like getting back in the motion of things, like fighting together.
Yeah.
And then I really like that. I really like Zemo in this movie. Specifically in this movie. And his interaction with T'Challa when he's trying to like, kill himself.
Oh, right.
I thought that was a really great moment for like Black Panther and everything, like T'Challa, and it was cool to see the humanity behind
like
the
a
superheroes.
Positive role model.
Yeah, and I think it even matters more now, like with everything that Chadwick Boseman has done for the MCU and for everything like that. So rest in peace, my guy.
Rest in peace, my G.
Why that sounds so awkward?
Wait, my guy, dude, my guy.
But yeah, so that's Civil War.
I love it. So the next movie is Doctor Strange.
And how do you feel about Doctor Strange?
I really liked Doctor Strange. I liked how we got the perfect balance of origin versus action. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because sometimes a lot of origin stories can just drag and drag and be like, all right, let's get to the cool stuff.
Right.
And, we kind of got like the pure power of the magic that they use during his origin story. And then like, they didn't like do like a whole like training montage type of thing, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't cheesy, it wasn't corny, it was like Doctor Strange embraced what he was going through and became the character that he is. Now actually what I'm about to say, never mind, I'm not going to say it because what I'm going to say goes into the next Doctor Strange movie, so I'll wait till we get to that.
Okay.
So, but I really do like this movie. I thought it was, like, visually, like, spectacular.
Oh, yeah,
I really loved it. And just, like I said, the origin wasn't boring. A lot of origin stories get boring, and I didn't feel that way. I thought it was a good movie overall.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it in theaters and just saying that I wish I saw it in 3D, which I never say about movies. Like, most of the time, 3D movies are just not fun to watch. I think I've only enjoyed 2 3D movies.
I don't think I've ever enjoyed a 3D movie.
Jurassic Park in 3D was freaking amazing.
Really?
And then I guess 3, because I saw Star Wars Episode 1 in 3D when they were going to release all of them in 3D. And seeing like Darth Maul in the pod race and stuff in 3D. Amazing. And then I saw Lion King in 3D when they put it in theaters.
Yeah.
And that was just fun. Like,
I think I went to like 2 3D movies.
I've been to too many. But now I hear they're better. But anyways, maybe we'll have to give it another shot.
Yeah.
But the visuals in this movie made me really want to see it in 3D, and I never did. I remember like that movie just like felt different like from any other Marvel movie, and it's because we're dealing with actual magic now, and it's not like explained away with science or Tony Stark making something in his lab with a box of scraps. Like and so it was interesting, and I was continuing like the whole movie. I was just like, they're gonna explain it away, it's not actual magic. No, it's just magic.
Yeah.
Like it's tapping into other dimensions type of magic.
Right.
Um,
And they really did cross the threshold of what we've seen, in the past. And it really opened up a lot of doors.
yeah.
But I didn't
third eyes.
I didn't expect them to take it to where it's going now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we can talk about this later on when we get to phase 4, but it's like I just thought Doctor Strange was just going to be a magical being, and that was it.
Yeah, and I think like they focused enough on his like origin, like his like car accident, which was actually really like brutal and graphic.
Yeah.
And him like trying to find a way to fix his hands and everything. And he was really like Benedict Cumberbatch is really great at playing an asshole because he isn't one. At least what you can tell from interviews, he seems genuinely nice.
Yep.
But he's so good at that movie, like his arc of being an asshole, like I'm the best in the world kind of guy, to being more humble throughout.
Yeah.
And I think like him and Wong's relationship is really great in that. Like Wong's like the stern, like get your shit together kind of guy, and Doctor Strange is like, well, I just want to learn everything really fast, and Wong's like, you better calm down.
Right.
I like the villains. Like Caecilius is a really good villain. Mads Mikkelsen plays him, and he's just known for his great villains.
Another thing about Wong though is that they didn't overdo it with him in this movie to where like the shock value of how big of a character he's become is like, it's an actual like surprise. Not a surprise, but like you weren't expecting it from seeing like, oh, he's just a librarian at the
and like I said, he's really stern and like really like he's in charge of him, you know what I mean? Like he takes care of what he needs to take care of, and it's not really too many jokes that he's a part of in this movie, but I really like the one where he's listening to like music.
And he's taking the books.
And I think that is such a good like indication that like when Wong's not being watched by other people, he's just a dude.
Yeah.
And I think we see that later on in things. It might have gotten out of hand in some of those things, in my opinion. But also it's like, maybe that's just Wong. And we are so like in this movie, we're used to just teacher Wong. And now he's, pure.
Supreme.
He's not a teacher anymore. He's not someone who's needing to look out for people. Like he's just one of them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone's a team now, like with him and Stephen Strange.
Right.
So, I really liked this movie though.
Now,
like,
when you say like his personality got out of hand, are you talking about like in She-Hulk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some of those took away from the fact that he's Sorcerer Supreme,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Sorcerer Supremely silly.
But he's a Sorcerer Supreme with a girlfriend now.
Yeah. What's her name?
I don't remember.
Anyways.
Jillian?
No. We'll figure it out. We'll get there. But then we get like the Thor crossover in this, right? Like the mid-credit scene.
Yes.
Where Doctor Strange is going to help bring Loki back for Thor.
Yep.
And then we get the post-credit scene that led nowhere with Mordo saying he's going to kill all the sorcerers.
Right.
Went nowhere. Still haven't seen anything from that.
Right. Not even in the next Doctor Strange movie when Mordo comes back. Yeah, right.
And we all thought in that trailer too. I know we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's that movie. Overall, I think it's a very underrated Marvel movie. It's beautiful. It's good action, good acting. The jokes are few and far between. Like they're not few, but they're far enough in between each other that they play well. It keeps a serious tone, but with also being a Marvel movie.
What I also love is the cloak.
Oh yeah,
it's how the cloak is sentient and its own character.
It's like the carpet from Aladdin.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then another thing is in that post-credit scene, they gave Doctor Strange his gloves.
Yeah,
and then he never used them again.
Yeah, right.
Like ever.
But I think a lot of that. I'm wondering if the gloves in that after credit scene are just because they didn't do the makeup on his hands for his scars. You know,
maybe.
But that's just probably movie magic.
Right.
Things happen because anytime you see his hands, he's got the scars like up his fingers and stuff. So, but yeah, overall, good movie.
Good movie.
Next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Loved it.
You loved it.
I loved it.
You loved it.
I loved it, but I was highly, highly disappointed at the same time.
Why?
Because when the trailers came out for this movie, I was absolutely ecstatic to see Nova. And I got my hopes up.
Yeah.
And I was really, the entire time, honestly, just waiting for Nova to fly in and save the day. And it never fucking happened.
So Nova is like one of my favorite superheroes of all time. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast. A lot of it comes from like the Spider-Man animated series with Nova and all them, you know?
Yeah.
Because I just like Nova as a character. I thought it like cool art, cool story. The comics are really fun and interesting. Like, anytime I see anything like come up with like Richard Wright or anything like that, I get excited.
I love any character that has a helmet.
Yeah.
I think helmets are so fucking cool.
But we thought we were going to see Nova in Guardians 1.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're in the Nova Corps.
Right.
We don't see Nova. And then in this one, we're getting closer to where we both think Nova's going to show up. But now, like, at the end of the movie, right, they introduce Adam Warlock, or the cocoon of Adam Warlock.
Wasn't that in the second one?
We're talking about the second one. We're talking about Guardians Volume 2.
Oh, shit. Well.
Did you think we were talking about the first one?
Yeah, I did.
We already talked about it.
God damn it. So
and we talked about Nova then, too.
We did.
But this one, we get Ego.
Wait. At least my ideas and theories stayed consistent with the first movie. Okay? But, okay. Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Mm-hmm.
I did not love it.
No?
That much.
There are definitely parts that I loved.
Yeah.
The opening credits, great. Like with just the fight going on behind Groot.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Like, it's so on brand for James Gunn to do stuff like that. But
at the same time, they made the Guardians so silly that it made me feel like, how do they get anything done? You know what I mean? Like how, this is where Drax took a turning point for me. I love Drax and how funny it is, and it's like a comedic relief. But Drax is not a comedic relief character.
I think he can be when it's done right, like in the first one where he just speaks and you're like,
right. But they really fed off of how people liked that, and they, I think, took it too far with Drax.
So I mean, overall, like, it wasn't as good as the first one.
Right.
Some of the characters they introduced were really cool. Like, I really like Mantis.
Yeah.
I don't know that actress's name, but she's great. Because we even, like, I watched the Guardians holiday special and I liked her in that.
You get to see her actually, take action and fight. We don't really see her fight.
But I feel like they did like play it up with the comedy in this one. And I think a lot of that just comes from, like, think about when you're hanging out with all your friends. Like, we just get rowdy, we get annoying, we get where we're cracking each other up. And that's what I like to think the Guardians are, right? It's like the first one, they're still getting to know each other. They're still more like sheltered and like brought in. They're not loud and obnoxious. And
Closed
then there's
off.
Peter, and he's always just silly, making stupid jokes and like, and that's because he's still a child, right? He didn't really grow up like, he grew up with the Ravagers, so he learned to be that, right?
Yeah.
And then in this one, they're more close together. They're less guarded.
Yeah.
Groot's funny. You can only give him so much credit though for making a small Groot. Because I feel like they just made small Groot for the toys.
Yeah. I think the movie in a whole was good, but that final scene with Ego and Peter,
it was just a CG fight.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping we see more from like Peter knowing that he's celestial born, like we didn't see any of that in future movies, right?
No, but we did find out that Mantis and Peter are siblings, I guess.
Yeah, they kind of glossed over that in the holiday special.
Yeah, but I also don't like the fact that they let Peter have all these powers to fight Ego.
Mm-hmm.
And that has never came up again.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? It's
no, they'd never.
It explained why he was able to hold the Infinity Stone in the first one.
Power Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. The purple one.
Yep. Power.
It explained that away, and that's about it, right?
Right.
But there's nothing else after that. But that's my biggest gripe with this movie is like that end fight is just a CGI fight, with comedy thrown in it, and then the powers are just gone after that.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? I don't know. Like,
maybe he only had the power in the presence of another Celestial.
I don't know. Because like the way they set it up was like a Yoda and Luke Skywalker type of training montage,
Yeah.
So maybe in the next one he'll figure it out. I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe not.
But also, like I said, I really liked the introduction of Mantis. I was really sad when you find out about like what happened to Peter's mom. Like that hit, that whole that dialogue exchange between the two of them during that, and like Chris Pratt's like reactions to all that was freaking great. Like for a Marvel movie, like solid.
Yeah.
And then I think the visuals were good. Like there was a lot of really nice looking scenery and like the planet, like changing Ego from a planet to a person, kind of, like the planet was still him technically.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
I like the relationship between Yondu and Peter.
Yeah, and I think that was really fun because it was, it's like, yeah, he's not your dad,
but he's your dad.
Yeah, and finding out all the stuff that he did for Peter and stuff, and that one hit hard at the end there, that death.
Yeah.
And then all the Ravagers like coming together and like putting off their flares and sending him off like he deserved.
Yeah.
Even though he was kicked out of the Ravagers.
Right.
And then we get that like end credit scene with the Sovereign.
Yep.
Which we see the cocoon
for Adam Warlock. Which we're barely gonna see
in Volume 3.
In Volume 3.
But I'm excited.
That movie was in 2017, so 6-7 years.
I mean, the Guardians showed up a lot, I feel like.
Right, but all that time, like hearing nothing about Adam Warlock, and then.
So our thing is like, the Guardians don't know about Adam Warlock yet, right? They weren't a part of the Sovereign creating this being and everything, right?
No.
And then that means they were just off making a name for themselves. They bought Nowhere. They own Nowhere now. That's what they talked about in the holiday special. So Nowhere belongs to the Guardians now. And the Sovereign's still pissed off at them, right?
Right.
So that's X amount of years that Aisha is telling Adam Warlock, fuck these guys. I hate these guys. We got to destroy these guys.
Yeah.
And the Guardians are just over here like, where's Gamora?
Yeah.
we're gonna kidnap Kevin Bacon. Like,
yeah.
But the cool thing from this too, do you remember the post-credit scene for this one?
For Guardians?
For Guardians Volume 2?
It was Adam Warlock.
That's one of them. There was 4 credit scenes.
4.
Yeah, the first one was Kraglin with the fin trying to control the arrow.
And then it was Howard the Duck?
No.
Oh.
There was another one with like the Ravagers. And then there was Aisha with the Adam Warlock. Then there's Peter talking to Groot, who's being all teenager, you know. And then the last one is Stan Lee and the Watchers.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when we find out, like, oh, all of Stan Lee's cameos are that.
Yeah.
And I think that was just fun because we all thought that, right, for years. Like, everyone's like, oh, he's a Watcher. He's like a Watu. But, like, that was just a cool, fun little cameo, like, to tie it all together. Because he shows up earlier in the movie, too, when they're, like, jumping all the portals and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, fun sequence, that one. With, like, Groot throwing up and, like,
oh,
the eyeballs.
Yeah.
Like, them and Kraglin, yeah. But I liked the movie. There was some cool action parts. I really liked that scene in the forest with Rocket, like, setting all the traps and everything.
Yeah.
You really get to see, like, Rocket's smart as heck. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a mastermind when it comes to all this stuff. So,
yeah.
That was fun to see.
Yeah, I liked it. I just didn't like the Peter and Ego, like, just mainly that end fight scene.
Yeah.
I just felt like it was cool, but it was not important.
Mm-hmm.
It was a waste. They could have defeated Ego as a team rather than fucking
because
Peter
imagine
miraculously getting these powers.
Yeah. And, like, just imagine, like, all of the Guardians, like, jumping around with, like, maybe Peter does have powers and he still uses them, but he uses them to help, like, the Guardians get to certain spots to get, like, they really hurt Ego, things like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But overall, it's still a fun movie to watch. I've probably only watched it twice, though.
I think I've only seen it that one time. TBH.
But yeah, overall, solid. What's the next one on the list?
The next one is Spider-Man Homecoming.
No way.
Yes way.
Homecoming?
Yes way.
All right, I'm just gonna say right off the rip, this might be my favorite Spider-Man movie.
Ever?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reasons behind this is, so Spider-Man was the first comic I ever read. It was like comics that were given to me by like one of my grandparents, and it was about that time in like middle school, high school, because I was late to like comics and everything. Like I obviously knew all the superheroes. You know, I was a kid. I watched all the cartoons, but I'm saying like when I got a comic book,
yeah.
I was probably in like 6th or 7th grade, maybe somewhere around there. So people were making fun of kids for reading comics
back then, yeah.
And I'm over here reading Spider-Man, like, because they re-released all the Spider-Man original comics, like the first editions in the newspaper in like San Diego.
Oh, really?
So my grandpa kept them all and like sent them to me.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's when I was just like, Spider-Man?
I love Spider-Man.
Because obviously we had the Raimi movies already, like the first 2.
Right.
And I loved those. Like it's freaking Spider-Man. I played Spider-Man games on my computer back in like the early 2000s. Like, there was one where like Stan Lee narrated the whole thing. Like it was cool, right? But I loved Spider-Man, and then I got those comics and like seeing like all these kind of things, and then I dive into the Spider-Man lore and the history and everything, and like Spider-Man in high school is like the perfect like person to look up to when you're in high school.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's a nerdy kid. People kind of pick on him. But he's got really good friends. at that time, right? I mean, we obviously know what happens later on, but you know, he's got Harry, he's got MJ, he's got Gwen, you know.
Yeah.
Um and you're just like, he gets by, you know, he does his thing, and then he becomes this badass little guy with superpowers. And now he's trying to juggle like doing high school and college and keeping a social life and a
Right.
job and being Spider-Man. And he's just a kid, right? So it's not some millionaire. It's not some dude who from another planet came down and now is a superhero because of the sunlight.
Yeah.
It's just a kid, and I think that was really what resonated. And then Homecoming, because that's what we're talking about, is that right? It's Peter trying to get through high school,
And being Spider-Man.
being Spider-Man, trying to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but also having ambitions and like aspirations to be an Avenger.
Right.
Who wouldn't want that? If you were was he like 15, 16, somewhere in there
Ish.
in this movie?
Yeah.
If you were that age and you knew the Avengers existed and then you had superpowers, what would you want? To be a fucking Avenger, right?
Right.
But he also wants to date the girl he likes. He wants to go to Homecoming. He wants to do those things. He wants to be a good I guess I'd say roommate to Aunt May. Like that's what he wants. He wants to be a good friend to Ned. I just think it's great. It feels like a John Hughes 80s movie with Spider-Man in it.
Yeah. It was definitely a feel-good movie, and then there was the you know, the really sad, like, oh no, Spider-Man's not gonna make it type moments of the movie.
That, I think, like, anytime Spider-Man is being Spider-Man, and by that I mean like it's Spider-Man that was in the shows, like the cartoons, in the comics, like making quips, making jokes, but also like just doing that as like a defense mechanism almost, you know? Like, he talks shit to these bad guys because he wants them to feel intimidated.
Right.
But it's not because he can't fight them. Like, Spidey pulls his punches, and we know that, you know? Because he doesn't want to kill people.
Right.
And, like, if you read the comics and all that stuff, we know, like, Spider-Man's one of the strongest superheroes that the Marvel Universe has. You know, he's up there. Compared to his size and stature, you know?
Right.
And we hear about that in like with Andrew Garfield's Spidey, where he's like, I had stopped pulling punches, and he was just, imagine what he did during that time.
I know, right? I want to know.
I want some dark Spider-Man noir type shit.
I want to know.
But anyways, but this movie was, we're coming off all these like, you know, Doctor Strange and Guardians and Civil War, like world-ending like type shit, and now we're just dealing with, oh, dude. Your girlfriend's dad's a bad guy.
Like, I know, right?
And I think Vulture was updated well.
Yeah.
As much as I want to see just Vulture like we have in the comics and everything, I think I would settle for this. It did remind me of Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man, you know, where it's a metal suit. But overall, I think he was one of the best Spider-Man villains we've seen since probably like Green Goblin or Sandman.
Yeah.
And a lot of why I liked Vulture was it was just a guy who was trying to look out for his family, and he got into the wrong shit.
Yeah. And it wasn't like any meta-human stuff going on, or it was just them using science.
Well, and it was a direct response to the Avengers and like all the damage they did, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I really liked Homecoming. It's up there for Spider-Man movies for me. I'm thinking more about it, and I think Far From Home is pretty close to the top of my list too. So we'll talk about that one though. But yeah, I think just the introduction of everything, all the cool like places that we see in the movie. He goes to like DC and everything.
Right.
We know he's afraid of heights in this one, which is why he's not swinging through the city yet. And we see that get fixed later on, you know?
Yeah.
In other movies. And then the only thing I hate about these three Spider-Man movies, so it'll be just blanket statement for the three, is Tony Stark's too much involved with Spider-Man for me to think Spider-Man can do it alone.
Yeah. Well, that's where we move forward with Spider-Man and everyone forgetting who Spider-Man is, and
that's I can't wait for whatever
okay.
happens next.
Yep, and now it's going to be a street level
friendly neighborhood
hero.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. And he's got his classic suit.
Oh, that suit.
And
so good.
I'm excited. Yeah, like you said, I'm excited to see where he goes now that he is the Spider-Man that we know and love.
No, and I think
without MJ and without...
Yeah, because I think, like, everyone complained that, like, oh, he's just Spider-Man, or he's just Iron Man Jr., right?
Yeah.
And he was. But we didn't get an origin story like we have in the last 2 runs of Spider-Man, but we got an origin story for MCU Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He didn't lose Uncle Ben. I mean, he did, but we didn't see him lose Uncle Ben. He lost Tony Stark, right? And then we see him lose Aunt May. And then he loses everybody.
Yeah.
And now he's living in a tiny little apartment downtown.
Broke,
trying to find a job.
Mm-hmm.
Going to college. You see, like, in the end of No Way Home. Like, he's getting his GED, all that stuff.
Yep.
He's exactly where he is when those comics started, you know?
Right.
For the most part. Like, now he's alone. He doesn't have anybody except him, and he's got a chance to make new friends, new enemies, all that stuff. So...
And another thing is he's not a photographer
that we know of.
Right. But we know he's probably going to start working for the Daily Bugle and doing all that. I don't know. I'm just excited to see where they take it, you know?
I'm also nervous.
Don't be nervous.
No, because we've had 3 really solid Spider-Man movies. Yes, there's some issues in some of them. But overall, I don't dislike a single one of these Spider-Man movies.
I don't think you have anything to be nervous about, especially...
Until Sony takes it away from Marvel.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Especially if Marvel still has the reins for Spider-Man. If Sony does rip Spider-Man out from underneath us, then maybe we have something to be a little worried about. But... I think overall the Spider-Man's in good hands.
For now.
So here's the thing, Brendan. We've gone through 4 movies and it's been 50 minutes.
I'm wondering if that has a lot to do with these are the more recent ones.
Yeah.
These are the ones where we really started paying attention.
Yeah.
Because we still have 2 movies left on Phase 4. So is this going to be a 3-parter?
I mean, we could do a 3-parter, or we can pick it up.
Because next is, I mean, do you have anything you want to specifically say about Spider-Man?
No,
Homecoming?
I think we covered it.
Just a whole life lesson.
Yeah.
Because the next one is
Thor Ragnarok.
And Thor Ragnarok. I love this movie. If we never had any other Thor movie besides this one, solid.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie works for me.
Well, I think it was the perfect balance of the comedy and the seriousness of Thor, and the interaction between Thor and Hulk.
Great.
And it was the first time we actually seen Hulk interact as a character instead of just Hulk smash.
Yeah.
And
because he had said a few things here or there. But,
But I think part of that makes sense because at this point, Hulk's been Hulk for 2 years.
Right.
Hulk has had time to learn and has had time to interact. You know what I mean? And so now Hulk is a character.
Yeah. They also introduced Hela in this.
Right? Hela. Scary.
I love Hela. Like,
yeah.
She looks like she does in the comics. She's scary. She's evil. She straight up kills everyone that I liked from the first Thor movies, you know, like all his little posse.
Right.
Which is fine. I didn't want to see any of them come back ever. They friggin' had Zachary Levi playing one of them, right? Was it Zach Levi?
Yeah, he was one of
I forget his name.
Thor's friends.
Yeah, but like, I wanted to see more of him. Like, they got a big old actor to play this guy, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Fucking what's his name? Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank? The Grandmaster.
Jeff Goldblum?
Jeff Goldblum. I kept wanting to say Ian Malcolm because of Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum, friggin' perfect.
Yeah.
He is just great as this crazy dude who's evil, and he doesn't want to admit that he's evil, so he plays it up as like, it's just how the rules are, you know?
Right. And also, he is not like the toughest person.
No, he relies on everyone else.
Kind of plays into like why he is higher up. He got some people to follow him.
It's a cult.
Yeah, pretty much.
He parties with them.
Uh-huh.
He gives them what they want, and then they listen to him because he was the first one on this planet, right? On Sakaar. He created all this stuff, and so he just is the
by default. He is the head.
Valkyrie's pretty sick. We like Valkyrie.
Yep, we love Valkyrie.
Her arc is pretty cool because we meet her and she's depressed and drunk. And
they also show like pretty much her origin in a flashback, which is like, I think really cool because now we can get into what is she gonna do now. Yeah, we don't have to see where she's been, what she did. All we needed to know is she's from Asgard, and she was one of the protectors of Asgard. When it fell. And they failed one time, and now Valkyries don't exist.
And Valkyrie is the last Valkyrie.
Exactly.
But we get some really cool like fight scenes between like Hela and her army and Thor and everyone. And this is when Thor really realizes that he is still the god of thunder without his hammer. Yeah. Because he was so reliant on this hammer. Yeah. But also, we meet the best character that Thor's ever had in it, Korg. And Korg is so good in this movie. I think that it was just great. Like, for me, Korg worked so well in this movie. Yeah. Because he's a rock creature. He's not smart. He's just strong, you know? Yeah. So he acts like a child. He is a rock. You know what I mean? Like, and his little, like, Taika Waititi plays Korg. And his little one-liners that are just so perfectly timed in this. Yeah. And we just couldn't recreate it in any other movie. You know what I mean? But that whole fight scene with just Thor coming down and the immigrant songs playing. Yeah. It's so good. I think I've watched that movie more times than any other Marvel movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen that movie quite a bit. And also, like, this is where Loki takes a turn. Yeah. And realizing that, oh shit, his home is
Asgard.
Right, but like oh shit, his home is going to be destroyed. Like, that is his home,
and it's his fault. It overall, is his fault.
You know?
Yep. Because Odin dies. Odin goes off to Valhalla. All that kind of stuff. And it's just every interaction you start realizing like Loki's not so bad. He's just misguided. Right. He thinks he needs to be bad because of his past, like because of who he is, because he's a frost giant. But this movie, like you said, he realizes like he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to be a bad guy.
But you're still wait. This is what I like about Loki is you're still waiting to be like, okay.
Yeah, when's he gonna flip like the last 3 times we've seen him? Yeah. And then we we get that end credit scene. You remember the one that we're talking about? The important one. Where they're leaving Asgard, it's destroyed, and they're on the ship.
And we see another ship.
The big old ship.
Big old ship.
Which leads directly into not the next movie we're going to talk about, but the next movie we're going to talk about
after that.
Because the last movie for... what phase are we on? We're still on 3?
Phase 3.
Dang. We knew these were going to be long. I didn't realize it was going to be an hour long.
Yeah.
But the next one's Black Panther.
Is it? It is. Okay.
I was like, do you have a different list? Like, did you make a different
list?
Well,
because we were talking about this movie leading into Infinity War. I didn't realize there was a buffer.
Yeah, it's Black Panther first.
Black Panther. Black Panther was great.
I really liked Black Panther.
I watched Black Panther over and over and over and over.
Over and over and over?
Like back to back. I think for the last 6 years I've been watching it every single day back to back.
What do you love so much about this movie?
Well, I actually haven't watched it back to back every single day, but I have seen it a lot. And what I love about this movie is that it is a very inspiring movie.
Uh-huh.
So, at this point, this is takes place after Civil War, when we see T'Challa for the first time.
Right.
And T'Challa is not yet Black Panther. Does that make any sense?
Right.
He's not Black Panther yet. He is Black Panther. He took it because his father passed away. And to Wakanda, he's still not the king.
Right, because we got to do the whole Warrior Falls thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And
traditions.
And I love how they go back and they show, okay, yes, you were Black Panther by default for Civil War, but you still have to go through being chosen and taking the throne the proper way.
Right.
And I loved it. I loved seeing the cultural aspect of Wakanda. And then they show that whole fight scene between him and M'Baku,
which is great.
Which is awesome. And at first, everybody loves T'Challa so much that nobody was going to challenge him.
Right.
Until M'Baku and his clan come out from the mountains, which apparently they haven't left those mountains in how long?
Forever.
Ever. And, he challenges T'Challa. T'Challa kicks his ass.
Right.
And they're supposed to fight to the death.
But right? He spares him.
And he spares his life. And then he becomes king. And then I love how they introduce Killmonger.
Right.
With Killmonger being a descendant and being T'Challa's cousin.
Right.
But the way they introduce him is, he's just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy looking for vibranium, and he teams up with
Claw. Yeah.
And I think, the story arc of Killmonger was really quick,
but it was grounded.
But it was very grounded and very
this movie was a Wakanda level, it was centered there, right? It had nothing to do with most of the world except the vibranium aspect of it, right? It just took place in Wakanda. It dealt with Wakanda issues,
right?
And then it slowly bled out,
Yeah. So I don't know. I love this movie because it was because of that, because it was centered around Wakanda, and because they're tucked away from the rest of the world, they have their own issues. They have their own fights. They have their own, ways of doing things. And that was really interesting to see. And, at the end, obviously, is when T'Challa decides to, like, okay, Killmonger's not wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, why are we hiding all the ways we could be helping the world from the world?
Mm-hmm.
And
No, and like that's the thing. Like T'Challa just doesn't agree with Killmonger's way of doing that.
yeah,
Just he agrees with the idea,
yeah,
and we see that struggle not only with him but with his family. You know, with his mom and with Shuri and everything. Because Shuri's all about getting out there, right?
yeah.
And then his mom's like, no, very anchored in the Wakandan ways.
And it kind of plays into how generations are
Yeah, the
even
generational
now,
gap.
like in the real world, like
Mm-hmm.
the generation from generation, they're all different. They all
Yeah.
have different views on the way things should be done or the way things should be handled.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that.
Right.
I love that, and I love how when T'Challa goes to the spirit world,
Mm-hmm.
and
The
he
ancestral
like
plane.
confronts his father about it,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Why didn't you help?
Right.
Like, why are we doing it this way?" And then that's kind of like where T'Challa makes his decision on what he's gonna do
Mm-hmm.
once he's king again.
Yeah, and that's where things just get crazy, you know, like
Yeah,
the whole movie leads up to like all the stuff that Killmonger does, and like he's a villain. He's a great villain.
yeah,
And that scene though where like after the really terrible CGI fight, because that's the only thing I hate about the movie, they sit on top of that hill and he looks over and says his entire speech and everything, and you can see like T'Challa's actually listening. He's ingesting it, he's taking it in, and
Mhm.
he's paying attention. He's not just letting him talk.
yeah.
So
And you can see, because Chadwick Boseman is such a good actor.
mm-hmm.
Like, in that final conversation when Killmonger is dying,
Mm-hmm.
you can see like how T'Challa is a human. He is sad about the cousin that he never knew
Yeah.
is dying,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
that
he offers to help, and
Mm-hmm.
like Killmonger's like, no.
Yeah. And so, this is where Marvel really does take a turn, because then we get the big events
Mm-hmm.
after this.
Yeah, which
And Wakanda plays a big role
in all of it.
in all of it.
Vibranium plays a huge part in all of it, you know, and like
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy. But I mean, like, there's still like 5 more movies in this phase.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, I feel like we've been talking for an hour. Oh, we have
We have been talking for more than an hour.
more than an hour, which is not like us. No, I'm just but it's crazy that we were able to fit 2 phases into one episode, and now we can't even get through one phase of this. But I think a lot of it is because these are the, like you said, the heavy hitters. These are the ones that matter most.
Yep.
So now my question is, do you want to? We're gonna split this phase 3 and phase 4. Like, we're gonna push those to another episode or so.
Yeah.
But do you want to say your favorite out of what we've talked about so far? Because there's a good list here, and like I said, we still have a lot more to cover.
Right. We're only halfway through phase 3.
This was, I feel like, a really long phase. But the next ones are all like really, really important movies, and
Yep. It's tough. It's
right.
tough because
I can tell you my bottom of the list for this part 1 of phase 3.
Guardians.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is the bottom. I'm gonna say my favorite.
Phase 3 part 1.
Yeah, my favorite of phase 3 part 1 is fuck. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was just like so refreshing to see Spider-Man on the screen again.
Yeah.
And with Spider-Man being a part of Marvel now,
Yeah. Interact
or
and talk
rented to
yeah,
Marvel.
Right. He's on lease.
Yeah, I think that was just like a very, very big dopamine hit for me.
Right.
But I do love Black Panther, so that comes in very close second.
See, as much as I love Spider-Man: Homecoming, I can watch Thor Ragnarok every single day and laugh at it still. Spider-Man: Homecoming for me is a very, very close second, but I have to give it to Ragnarok just because of just how fun it is. It's such a fun movie, and it's serious. It's not too silly like other Thor movies.
Yeah.
It's not too dark like other Thor movies.
Yeah.
I can, if I'm gonna watch any Marvel movie just randomly, it's gonna be that one. But if I watch Spider-Man, I have to watch the next two Spider-Man movies right after. You know,
The only good Thor movie.
I think it's a good Thor movie. But I think that's our Phase 3 Part 1 Part 2 Marvel Cinematic Universe roundup. These are the heavy hitters. Like, I guess we didn't plan for Phase 3 to take more than an episode.
Yeah. I didn't. I definitely didn't.
I know you didn't. We talked about it right before this. We're like, yeah,
Right.
it'll be fine. Next episode we'll talk about both 3 and 4 this episode.
Yeah, we'll be good.
But this is when Marvel really like dove into the phases, you know, like where that really mattered every single movie that came out. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so far from Phase 3, my favorite's Ragnarok, yours is Homecoming.
Uh-huh.
We still have more on the list though, so that overall top could change, you know.
Yeah. For sure.
But I think that's all we got for this episode this week, right?
Yeah. I think
we'll,
so.
We'll be back with the rest of Phase 3 and maybe Phase 4. And then we'll start talking about Phase 5 pretty soon too.
Or we could do 2 or just multiple short episodes aside from our regular episodes.
And just finish
Just
off the
finishing
phases.
Marvel.
There's still a lot more to cover, and I'm excited to keep diving into it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like we had some really strong conversations about these movies, and I hope you guys, you know, if you haven't watched them, go watch them.
Go watch them.
Go watch them right now.
Go right now.
Or you're not going to know what we're talking about, or we just spoiled everything for you.
Yep, sorry.
Sorry,
not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. I can't wait till we finish, though, and we talk about our overall favorite MCU movie, because that's going to be tough.
Yeah.
That's going to be real tough. So, I know we'll probably cross that bridge when we get there.
In 5
to
weeks.
6 episodes. But until then, I'm Brendan.
And I'm Juan.
Thanks. I can't believe we only got through like 5 movies.
Dude, everyone's gonna like be like, enough about Marvel.
It's like all we ever talk about is Marvel movies.
I know. There's gonna be a whole season of just the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, fuck it.